I am staring down what could be the final months of my marriage. I, 30 male, and my wife, 30 female, have been in a wonderful relationship for the past 11 years. We are college sweethearts and have been through so much together, from living in multiple cities, to eloping and dealing with our angry friends and families together, to seeing each other through the death of loved ones, to getting our first and second cats together. We lived our second childhoods together, as we like to call it, and have had the most loving relationship I could ever ask for. Well, earlier this year, that all came crashing down for me. This year, my wife came out to me as polyamorous and told me that it was just something she was learning about herself. I felt taken aback by it and felt all sorts of insecurities. Am I not enough? Is this relationship a joke to you? Why do you need to bang other people? Of course, I didn't say any of these things to her, but instead tried to remain calm and discuss the topic with her. She told me that it wasn't something she necessarily had the energy to pursue, but that it was a side of her she was interested in exploring eventually. That gave me some relief, because at least I felt like I had time to process everything with her and learn more about polyamory, and maybe challenge myself to see if I just learned more, then it would be okay. After she told me, we were talking about polyamory and what that might look like for us every now and then on date nights. I was always uncomfortable talking about it, because in truth, I just want her. I don't want to think about other partners every time I think about her. I want her, and only her. Why can't I be enough? If she is truly polyamorous and wants other people in her, doesn't that imply that I was never enough? Anyways, I entertained the idea, because well, she has always been bisexual, and there was always a part of me that felt guilty for trapping her in a heterosexual relationship. See, I was her first and only, and sometimes I wonder if part of her feels like her queerness never really got to be expressed because of that. So maybe this could work. And hey, it's not like it's realistic to expect that either of us would ever feel attraction of any kind to someone else. It's just about whether it's acted on or not. The months pass and we both learn more about polyamory and what that can look like. We like the idea of a mono or polyhierarchical relationship, and I stupidly think, yeah, our love is so strong, I will definitely learn to want this. I'll be the primary partner and I'll always come first. I believe her when she says that, because she's only ever been 100% there for me through thick and thin. But inside, I'm worried, because if she finds another, won't she stop being there for me 100%? I tell her my fears and she comforts me, telling me that I am the love of her life and that she's not going anywhere. But then again, if she wants to see other people, isn't she going somewhere? I love her so much and want to believe her, but I find myself dying inside whenever consensual non-monogamy or polyamory is brought up. I start reading all the propaganda out there by people in polyamorous relationships. Oh, it's so ethical, monogamists don't even know how to communicate. Most one-on-one marriages fail because we're not evolved for that. We have so much love to give. I start telling myself all those sweet nothings and denying myself the right to want monogamy. And the thing is, I believe my wife when she tells me that she would prioritize me. The freaking problem is, I don't want that. I don't want someone to just come by and take her away from me, ever. I don't want someone to call themselves her partner, because I want to be the only one. I have given her all of myself, and she's always given all of herself to me. And I'm here making myself feel selfish for not wanting to share. Sue me. Well, this all came to a head one day when she finally came to me with what I didn't want to hear. She developed feelings for someone else and wanted to tell me about it for transparency. She's always been honest and transparent with me, but man, did this one hit me like a freaking truck. She assured me that she hasn't acted on it, that person doesn't know, and she doesn't have to take it any further than I am comfortable with. But I get a panic attack and start having visions of her leaving me. We talk a lot and she spends a lot of time comforting me, and we agree to see a poly-friendly therapist who can guide us through what we're going through. We go see the therapist, and she points out that we have a wonderful relationship, but our communication had broken down. So my wife had agreed that we wouldn't do anything with polyamory this year, and while she hasn't acted on anything, telling me was basically asking me to move things forward. I eventually break down and confess that I don't want any of this, and that I hadn't been allowing myself to be okay with wanting the beautiful relationship we already have. It's a tough conversation that the therapist guides us through, and eventually we decide to put a formal pause to polyamory talks. My life had been suffering because of a lot of losses simultaneously. My best friend decided to stop being friends with me because she was jealous of my wife, my workplace laid off my best friends and left only me behind, and my grandmother died. I haven't been sleeping well and I've been gaining weight. I just need my life to be stable for a little bit. We all eventually agree that it's best that we take a few months to work our communication and to help me move on from a lot of the loss I have been experiencing. She promises that we can go as slow as we need to and that I can have more time if I want. She won't act on any feelings and promises to treat the topic as delicately and sparsely as she can. But she also admits that being poly is something she needs, and she has so much love to give. We'll be monogamous for a few more months while I get my act together, I guess. The thing is, she has been so wonderful to me, and we have had such a beautiful life together. I don't want anyone else but her, and I want her all to myself. I can have her for a few more months, and I'm afraid that when those months pass and it's time to revisit this conversation, I'll be changed and learn to be okay with this. I'll be okay and watch the world we built together slowly fade, watch her walk away from me as I stop being the only one in her life. The thing is, I already stopped being that to her the moment she figured she was poly. My relationship with her as I know it has already ended, and I'm staring down our final months as a monogamous couple. I'm trying to hold myself together and be a better husband and partner anyway. If I'm going to be let down in the end, I might as well have the best freaking last months with her as I know it. This could all work out, or it couldn't. Either way, my marriage as I knew it is essentially over. There's something else there now in its place. I never wanted this, but it's what I get. Part of me prays that if I ever entertain this poly nonsense, a few months from now, that she starts dating and realizes that dating freaking sucks and, never mind, I'm not poly, just silly. But that's just a fantasy. I got a few months left with her. Then, us as we knew it is done. We'll be something else. Maybe it can be better, but I get this nagging feeling that I'll have to learn to let her go already. She has so much love to give, and one day I won't be the only one. And maybe it'll be over. I'm broken, but I know this isn't necessarily the end. Now for the top advice. Polyamory will only work if both parties are 110% invested. If or when you eventually give in, you're going to hold a lot of resentment towards your partner. You need to sit down with your partner and tell them that you don't feel comfortable moving forward with polyamory, and that if they value polyamory more than your monogamous relationship, then it's best if you end things. Being forced into a polyamorous marriage will completely wreck your mental health, so rather give them the option of being monogamous and staying married, or continue their polyamorous journey as a divorced or single person, as you want nothing to do with that lifestyle. And even if both sides are 110% invested, it's common for people to sour on it quickly once they actually see their partner with someone else. A lot of people think it's sexy as a hypothetical, but find it a lot less enjoyable in reality. It's referred to as poly under duress, and yes, it will kill any marriage stone dead. For sure killed the relationship I had with my best friend and now ex-boyfriend. He could see how much he was hurting me, so he broke up with me. And then he ended up confessing to me that he wanted to be monogamous with her. TLDR, it's a year and a half later, and he's extremely depressed because she threw him out and broke up with him. He told me he ruined his only chance at a normal, stable life. I feel bad, but at the same time I don't, because he literally asked for this. I tried to tell him, but he didn't listen to me. Dude, I mean this with the most love and respect can muster for a stranger on her. Try to develop some self-respect and lay down your boundaries. She had laid the boundary that this is something she needs. If not now, then a few months or years from now. She's taking care of herself, so you need to lay down the boundary that you need her, not bits and pieces of her. Sounds like she needs polyamory and OP needs monogamy. So OP and his wife really need to ask themselves if polyamory is worth losing her spouse over. It sounds like the answer is yes for both of them. Grabbing my popcorn for the post where OP says his wife wants him back and she made a huge mistake, but he has moved on. Needs polyamory. Nobody needs to bang other people. Thank you. It's 100% a choice, which she has every right to make, but let's call a spade law. I 30 male walked in on my wife 30 female with a co-worker and feel ashamed for considering giving her a second chance. Original post. I was out overnight with cousins celebrating the holidays early. My wife of 2 months was unable to make it because she was working her second job, a bar gig she picked up about a month ago to pay off her debts. She told me she was inviting her gay coworker in his 30s back to our apartment around 1:30 a.m. They had a drink post-shift and revealed he had stage 3 cancer. She wanted to continue the drinking and said 2 other guys might join. Her and these co-workers got back to our apartment around 2:30 a.m. and continued to drink most of the liquor we had in the apartment, nearly 2 to 3 bottles. I was assaulted in the city late night and spent the night in the hospital. She got word of the incident around 5 a.m., called me to check on me, and called my parents to talk to them about the incident. Around 8 in the morning, she called me to ask how things were going and if I was going to make it home. She sounded like a different person, barely coherent, and could hardly put a sentence together. I hardly recognized her. So I told her I was heading home and would be there in about an hour. I arrived home at around 9:15 and opened my door to find a man I had never seen before, jumping up to zip up his pants. and my wife stumbling towards the bathroom with her pants around her knees. I told the man to leave before I did something stupid, and he instantly left. I was in shock and just kept shouting why. Apparently her gay co-worker, this guy's best friend, left at 8:45, and she just started to hook up with this guy right before I opened the door. She has admitted to me they were hooking up, but thinks it was only for a minute or two. I left the apartment and was able to get my parents and brother there to help me gather all my stuff and move back to my parents' house. By 11, I had almost all of my belongings out of our apartment. Some background. My wife and I were trying to have a baby earlier this year. Early in the pregnancy, the doctors noticed some very bad indicators that meant the baby would either not make it to term or die just after birth. My wife decided the best course of action was to terminate because the doctors said there was no hope for the baby's survival. This was in July. My wife and I have been working opposite schedules for the last 8 months. We get a day and a half each week together. She hates her job and has had a very hard time not seeing me. She has been severely depressed since losing the baby and binge drinking on the weekends to cope. We still wanted to try for a baby again, but I told her I would not until she stopped the drinking. She has had no desire for intimacy since the abortion. Other than to try and conceive, she has shown me zero desire sexually. Occasionally we have been doing it, but it is very clear she is only doing it because she knows I want it. Her story, she claims to me that she doesn't even have any recollection of what happened. However, she admits it was not forced and that she chose to do it. She can't believe she did it and has no idea how she let herself do it. She had never spoken to this guy outside of work and doesn't have his phone number or social media to have a way to talk to him. She told me she does not remember talking to me in the morning and hardly can remember me even walking in. She tells me that it was purely a physical instinct that somehow came out because she was so heavily intoxicated. She has never cheated before and there has never been a single indication for me to say otherwise. She has been begging me to come back to our apartment, swearing she will never drink again because she knows she has a problem. She said she will start to get therapy to help her severe depression. She is willing to go to a counselor as a way for us to start the healing. She says she can't imagine a life without me and still wants to have that future. I am completely broken. 2 of the most traumatic incidents in my life occurred within a day. A small part of me wants to end it and never see her again. But in my heart, I know I love this person beyond words and still can imagine the future we wanted to have. I feel ashamed for even considering giving her another chance. But I genuinely believe this was an extremely intoxicated, isolated mistake, and that she truly does want to make the changes to fix our marriage. If there's any other info you need to give me proper advice, just ask. Now for the top advice. Just divorce her, buddy, or get an annulment. She would never cheat on you if she loved you. She's supposed to be in the honeymoon phase. Don't build a life around this cheating troll. That is a strong point. This is the honeymoon phase, and that's the action she took. I had to go back to read it's only been 2 months. Been together for 2.5 years. Married 2 months. Met right when COVID started, so both unemployed and spent the first 3 months together every day. Basically have lived together for the whole relationship because I was there so often at the start. Nope. Time for you to move on. You were attacked and ended up in hospital, and her immediate response was to not go to your side but bang another dude. There's a scenario or two here. That gay coworker doesn't exist, or is very much not gay. And she was likely cheating on you long before you caught them, and she would have taken it to her grave. You would have never known she was banging other dudes behind your back. A few really bad red flags. 1. You were seriously harmed and ended up in hospital, and she didn't immediately sober up and go to you. 2. Her story shifted 5 times in the frame of a few minutes of being caught. 3. The ambiguity of this coworker and suddenly inviting more people over when having told you what was happening earlier, as in more shifting plans. 4. The constant and consistent time checks and the repeated "will you be home" questions. 5. Blaming it on alcohol. 6. The immediate cover stories. I don't even know this guy. Okay, a likely story if she was out at a bar or something, but this was pre-planned. She had plans to bring someone over. She had plans to bring this guy over. Why the hell would a seeing a friend who has cancer turn into, he wants me to invite his friends to our house who I've never met before? The logic of it all falls apart. They drank 3 bottles of hard liquor awfully fast, for what should have been a relatively summer affair. I'm sorry, mate, but what she did was some next-level sociopathic crap, and if you forgive her, you are a fool. You may still love her, but that just means you need to stop loving her. She betrayed you, lied to you, left you at your most vulnerable for some cheap prick, and she only wants forgiveness cause she was caught. As fair as cheating goes, that's pretty damn high on the list of non-redeemability. At many turns here, could she have done something, anything redeemable, and again she chose the most despicable things to do to you and your relationship. At every turn and corner she chose to throw it all away. Years of effort and love and devotion, just banged away for some dude who she claims to not even know. That's how little she values you as a person, and how little she values your relationship. Don't fall prey to the sunk cost fallacy either. A sinking ship is going to sink, whether it's been sailing for 1 year or 20 years, and trying to patch either when they are sinking that fast is only going to lead to you drowning as well. Yup. I asked what the guys said when she was on the phone with me, and then my parents talking about what happened. And she told me neither of them could care at all. She continued to just drink with them knowing my current situation. Then those dudes were there to sleep with her, any and all of them. Not one of them were her friends. My husband was just assaulted and is now in hospital. Should elicit responses from any actual friends, such as "Holy crap, do you need a lift to the hospital? Is he okay? We will get out of your hair so you can go to him. I have a sober friend who could take you." Not, "Damn, that's crazy. Pour another shot."